2024 is here. To put it in sadder terms, that means 2016 was 8 years ago. This is what I looked like back then. I hadn't even found Architects yet. I was a baby. I don't know why I'm mentioning this. There's a bunch of heavy music releases coming out this year, like the new While She Sleeps record. They've got 2 singles out already, neither of which I'm really all that sold on, but I've been tracking Sean Long's Instagram clips over the last few years, and if even a quarter of those things make it onto Self Hell, then I might need to buy one of those signature Charvels. Darkest Hour also have a new album dropping in February. This feels like a band I've been circling for a few years. Then they put out the title track to this record a few months ago, and I've genuinely had it on repeat since. That is, admittedly, the first song from them I ever listened to. I know I'm a couple decades late to the trend, but I don't know if I should go through more of their discography before Perpetual Terminal comes out, or just wait, listen to that, and let it be my first impression of the band. But if we just get that one single 10 times in a row, it was that good, I would be pretty happy. But before they both come out, we get the new Caligula's Horse record. I found them just browsing the prog metal subreddit 3 weeks ago? 2 questions, Caligula's Horse. First, why did you name your band that? Second, where the hell have you been my whole life? Charcoal Grace releases in January, and the first 2 tracks are already out. I am weak at the knees already. They are so good. Those are the only 3 albums on my radar with confirmed release dates so far this year, and Caligula's Steed is already at the top of my list. Beyond that, we know Intervals is putting out a new record this year. Aaron's been drip-feeding studio clips since late 2022, and from the looks of his last Instagram post, the album might already be done? Aaron, why are you such a cock tease? And why are you so good at it? It dropped Mnemonic back in October, it bangs, it's hard for Intervals to put out anything bad, so if this just ends up being Circadian Part 2, I'm absolutely not going to complain. Era also came out the woodwork last week saying they're bringing a new album into the new year. That's fucking hype. It would be the first one with Clint on guitar. I wonder if it would include Pale Iris or if that was just a one-off single, but either way, his guitar playing is super underrated, and combining that with Era's power might just be way too OP. Better Lovers also just confirmed they're doing a new record this year, and apparently have 16 tracks in the works. And they don't just want to do sporadic releases throughout the year, so whenever they do emerge from hibernation, everyone hide your kids, because they're going to release that much new music all at the same time. God Made Me an Animal was my favorite EP release of last year. So if they're already gearing up to do a full length, it's going to be like Christmas Came Early. Unless they release it on Christmas. Spirit Box also confirmed to Revolver that they're dropping a new album, and the wording on that makes it seem like it's also coming out this year. They recorded The Fear of Fear at the beginning of last year, so enough time's already passed where they're interested in jumping back into a traditional album cycle. But for it to come out so soon after they just dropped an EP would shock me a little bit. Better Lovers are doing it, so why can't these guys do it too? And the only other band on my watch list for this year that is guaranteed dropping a new album in 2024 is Live a Lie. That's James Harrison from Ocean's 8 Alaska getting together with some friends from New York. It's called Living in the Static. It'll apparently be their debut full-length album if their promotional materials promising 12 uploads is anything to go by. They had a couple of tracks released before this, but they just put up a song called Whirlpools a couple weeks ago, and it gives me heavy Invent Animate vibes in honestly the best way. So I'm definitely checking that out when it drops. But everything I've talked about so far are albums that are confirmed to be dropping this year from bands that I am aware of. So everything else I mentioned from this point is just pure hopium. Like new Make Them Suffer. Come on guys, where is it? I am on my knees here. Not literally, that would look dumb on camera, but I am begging. You can't just drop a single a year every year and expect that to sate me. I mean, you can, but I'd really prefer you didn't. We all know it has to be in the works. I'd suspect signing with Sharptone wouldn't have happened if that wasn't the case, and How to Survive a Funeral came out 4 years ago, so just Just give it to me! I also think Northlane could drop new music this year, which honestly I wasn't expecting, because it's been less than 2 years since Obsidian dropped. But they also dropped Dante last year, which seems like a one-off single. But before they came to the US on tour last year, they got in the studio with Will Putney for a bit, who I don't think has been on any Northlane release since, like, what, Node? It's been almost 10 years since then, so I'm super intrigued by this. Even if Northlane are pretty decidedly in their alt-metal dancecore phase at this point, I wonder if working with Putney does anything to inspire their sound, because he did just put out new End and Better Lovers projects last year. But apparently Dante was the first product of their collaboration from last year, so I could just be talking out of my ass here. Speaking of Australia, Alpha Wolf started writing their third album last May, I'm pretty sure. So that puppy's been cooking for a bit, even if they've been touring non-stop since then, it feels like. You guys remember Bring Back the Noise? That was short and very sweet. Love the new metal influences on that. Plus, if I check out their release history, yeah, A Quiet Place to Die came out right at the height of the pandemic, so it's been several years. So if this new sucker doesn't come out this year, I'm going to be very sad. Whitechapel have also dropped a studio pick or two over the last few months. One of them's got a couple stupid heavy demo tracks on it, and Phil seems to be teasing that they're turning the clock back to 2007 with their next album. I don't know if we're ready for that, but full disclosure, I got into them late. I love Kin, which might be an unpopular opinion. So if Whitechapel's next album ends up being a crossover of Semantic Defilement with some Maynard James Keenan style cleans over the top of it, screw it. I am here for that. That sounds tasty. As I Lay Dying's tracked another album already, apparently. I get why tons of people won't touch that thing, and I totally understand, but Ken Susi and Nick Pierce from Unearth and Ryan Neff from Miss May I are in the band now, and you combine that with Phil Scrosso's Riff Machine, and that could have a couple really interesting instrumental heaters on it, so I might have to check that out. We'll see. The Ghost Inside put out 2 singles last year. I don't know, it could be a waterfall release hinting at a new record, but they were spaced out pretty far, and on a personal level, I wasn't really a fan of either one, but look, if TGI puts out another album, I'm obviously going to give it a listen. I also can't tell if Imminence has been building towards a new record drop or not. 4 new singles have come out since the deluxe edition of Heaven and Hiding, and the album art on all of them seems like we're slowly building towards completion, so we're either going to get 2 more songs or a whole new record. Which one is it? Personally, if it just ends up being an EP with Come Hell or High Water, Desolation, Heaven Shall Burn, Death from a Thousand Cuts, and the last 2 songs that this drop suggests it's building to, that would be a pretty solid project. Unless those 2 songs suck. Loathe apparently have a new album in the works, but haven't given any indication about when it's coming out. Volumes are just now posting some studio clips working on new stuff. Black Dahlia Murder, Deftones, Killswitch Engage, and Bad Omens are all developing. And apparently we're supposed to be getting new Serge Tankian music this year? If he's fucking with me, I'm going to be so sad. Anyway, that's what's on my release radar for 2024. There will obviously be other things that come up as the year progresses, but look, if 3/4, hell, even half of the bands in this video end up dropping new albums this year, I'm going to have a very happy playlist by the end of it. Do you have a band that you hope puts out new music this year?